Start Over Strong, Life After a DUI, a podcast for people, not offenders. Brought to you by Smart Start, the nation's most trusted, judgment-free ignition interlock provider.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Morgan Ryan and this is Stigma Free IID. We have a phenomenal episode planned for you today. My personal friend Grace, who I actually met at the gym, more on that in a moment. Grace truly is an example of grace under fire. She is a woman, a dancer. She is a mom. She's an entrepreneur. I could continue to go on and on about Grace. And she's going to share her story today about ambition and accountability after having a DUI and an ignition interlock device. Grace, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Morgan. Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to finally have this talk. So from the top, I just want you to give me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about being a mom and just tell me a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So I am first and foremost mother of two very talented, brilliant children. I also manage a studio. I've been in health and wellness for almost 30 years.
Wow. Yeah. I know dance is, it requires daily discipline. It also sounds like being in your family, you were encouraged to be confident and strong, and there might be some pressure there as well.
Lots of pressure.
Lots of pressure.
Self-pressure, I guess.
Women don't have pressure enough, right? And I really want to focus on the empowerment part of your story. And in order to get there, right, we have to go from, I think, this journey of, right, you're with Dallas, you're auditioning, and then you what happens between then? Did you become a mom? And what's the timeline there between when your DUI occurred and what was going on in your life during that time? I'm assuming there was pressure.
Oh, yeah. So lots of pressure, but really it's just, I think the personality that I have is just self-pressure. Knowing that I moved here solo on my own, family still in New Mexico, I was determined to really make a life for myself. And actually the week that I moved to Texas, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. We've relied on a lot of faith. My faith is so huge. And so with the faith and just determination, that's ingrained in us.
Eventually you got married, is what I understand, and had children, and then got your DUI?
That's what happened. So shortly after that, got married. Both children came extremely early. So he helped throughout the journey of just whatever it was that I wanted to do, I ended up branding myself and doing all of that thing with dance. But during COVID, of course, is that's when it happened. At that point I was, I did have a YouTube channel, I had my following, I would teach dance. I'd have clients from LA to New York, some friends in Florida that would want fitness routines and just any kind of help, nutrition advice and all of those things. But I really just shut off during COVID. I didn't want to video anything. Didn't have the energy. And even teaching, the type of teaching that I do, it's really a connection. So it's really hard to do when it's on screen.
Okay.
So that was really hard for me. So I ended up going and helping a friend that had a hair salon that was local. And, that was something to go work and do, but, be around people. It was limited times that we would be open because it was COVID. And there was just one in particular evening that, I think it was just the stress of not being around people and family. Of course, we didn't know if we were going to see mom and dad ever again at that point. Everybody was worried about travel and everything.
Right.
So that was my out, was just to go and help with this salon. I was managing that. And it was just one evening. We had VIP clients that were there late. They wanted to get their hair done. And there's times where we would just, take care of them. And I was exhausted because I'm sure I did a workout that morning and did my routine in the evening. But when helped out in that afternoon and evening and was encouraged to have a glass of wine with the clients. And I'm the kind that was just, networking and constantly just making sure that people felt, happy and just welcomed and just comfortable while they're getting their hair done. And I was exhausted. I remember to this day that I will even tell my kids, don't drink energy drinks. They're so bad for you. And there was one there. And I remember just drinking that and having a couple glasses of wine. It was a rainy day. And I finally said, I can't stay. It was past 8. Kids hadn't eaten. And she, the owner at the time said, please just stay another 40 minutes. Let's make sure that they're out and clean the studio or the salon. And it just, that's what hit on a rainy day, just a block away from home.
You get pulled over.
Well, yeah, I did. I actually, it's not funny now, but looking back, I hit a mailbox. Hit a mailbox, and it was at the end of the street. And my husband at the time, had this beautiful Audi that I worked towards.
Sure.
And he sees it getting taken away. And somehow he managed to just see that the lights were there, and he put it together that, oh my gosh, that was Grace. So it had been just a block.
Tell me about the immediate emotional impact. Did it take you a while to feel that? Did you feel it immediately? Was it the night of when you
the remorse?
Talk to me about, because I know you're a very feely person, and I want to hear about that. I think there's women who are going through this, and they need to be acknowledged in that way. So if you could talk to me about that emotional impact on you.
I think initially, of course, my concern was that I was going to lose my children and my whole life was going to crash. My children are everything. So before any career, before any opportunity that I have, I just thought my babies are going to suffer, and of course their dad. And I just was just that remorse or that feeling of how could the person that I encourage people to eat clean and do the right things and take care of their body, and their body's a temple, all of those things. I just made this decision while I was tired, and just, how could I let this happen? How could I be that person to really just damage this perfect family at the time?
Yeah.
Everything was aligned, everything was great, and I just made a poor choice, and I am a people person. I love to hang out, have a good time, but it was just, I'm not the kind that's just going to go and get so drunk and do all those things. I just thought,
So this was a mistake for
this
you.
was just a huge mistake. And I remember what I was wearing. I mean, everything, because I remembered I was in this beautiful white blouse, and I thought, it was kind of like, I don't know, the time stopped. It just stood still, and I saw myself, there, and it's almost like I was talking to myself, like, how could you do this? What is going on? Why? Just what's the reason behind this? Like,
what would you say to someone today who is going through that exact moment right now? They're having those thoughts. What would you say to them?
I would say that we all are human. We're human, and it doesn't define you. You make a decision like that, you hurt and you go through the pain, and it's quite the journey. Everything that happened after that, it affected a lot of us. And I turned to my family and my husband and got through it. It wasn't something that I thought was just going to be, swept under the rug. Because I'm not that kind of person. If anything, I'm trying to be the biggest cheerleader for anybody that's in my world and in my life. Yet I felt like I didn't let myself down. I let those that do love me down. But it doesn't define you. It's just one moment, one mistake that you can fix.
I love that. Tell me more about the journey. I know you had a Smart Start ignition interlock device in your car. I think you said your journey was about 12 months or so. What was that like for you? From the moment you were told you needed one to installation? Let's talk about that.
Oh, at first I didn't even know what that meant. I had no clue because, my parents, they don't drink. They don't smoke. I think I've seen my mom have a glass of wine with her sisters, but
right.
That is it. I've never seen.
And you hadn't been exposed to an IID before. You're told you needed an ignition interlock device. What went through your mind?
What is that? And what do you mean it's got to be in my car? Like,
right.
How does it even work? How am I going to get to work? I've got these meetings. I've got these events going on. Like, how am I going to, at first you think, how am I going to hide that? It's embarrassing. Initially, and then the kids, how am I going to introduce this to the children? They were so little. But being that my son is an entertainer, we've always had this, we debrief, we pray about everything, and we just talk real. like, this is a reality. This is something perhaps maybe not that it's a good thing, but God has us learn from. And, he's in the music industry. So it's one of those things that I had to kind of look at it as like, this is full circle. This is maybe something that the kids need to see so that they decide and make better decisions.
Yeah, you took accountability, use it as a coaching opportunity to affect positive change. And with your kids in the car, I often try to speak about the IID being something that you really can't hide from anybody in the car with you. Talk to me about rolling tests, that it's not just blowing to start the vehicle. You do have rolling tests periodically. What was that like in front of your children?
Well, I mean, I would have to go take it in every, month, I guess, and get everything checked out. They became, it was just kind of a silly thing. They know mom's not that person, but at first it was a very serious thing, and it is a very serious thing, but, just supportive, I guess, as far as my kids, I've always had this strong communication with them.
Yeah.
It became just like, hey, this is temporary.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that I told myself, this is just a temporary thing, and I can't, initially it was not, I thought it was just the end of my world.
Yeah.
And I came out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, for me, the notion of, for example, mom is not that person, right? It's difficult to be in that position, to take accountability, to be heartbroken, to be in really what you're describing as moments of despair. You got to claw your way out of it, and you take the steps to do that. And you're trying to model in this moment the, moderation, and you're trying to show them how you take something and you turn from bad to good. And also, I speak openly about moms getting into the situation, and as you're describing your situation, and if it is one mistake, we do have people that have a problem, and there is, an issue with recovering alcoholism and things. But for the women specifically who don't have a problem, and they're going out with their friends to get brunch, and they're finally getting that break, and they're having one or two mimosas, and they're getting behind the wheel, and they're getting a DUI at 2 p.m., there's a stigma for whatever reason around that person, right? But you've become that person, and that person, like societally, we think that people with DUIs are really not who we think they are. They're normal, ordinary people, and they are the moms. They are the working class individuals. They're not, these low level individuals or something, and they're not all people that have a problem. That's what a mistake is. And to your point, it doesn't define you.
Right.
So after your ignition interlock device was removed, talk to me about that moment.
Well, I mean, I guess during the time, I went right back into what makes me happy and what is something that I can overcome with, and like I said, in COVID, I just stopped dancing, and that is like I can't even,
I can't.
There's been a time of
you not dancing.
Yeah. So I missed that, and I started dancing. I would dance in the garage. I did 75 hard, which is, if you don't know what that is, look it up.
Yeah.
I'm on my probably third, fourth year of doing that. Anything to just challenge myself and be the role model that my kids need.
Yeah.
And so after everything was removed, I'm trying to think of the timeline. I think at that point, of course, we were still working really hard with Austin's music career. And of course, he's everywhere. I had to keep up my energy, because a lot of the work that I do, obviously, you have to have crazy energy and be fit and healthy. Yeah. And, I started just to lean on my soul sisters, which are some of my girls that have been at Lifetime since before my two babies. I've had my group of friends that I lean on, and we would have our monthly meetings. I've got one girlfriend that's in Florida, one that's traveling all over, one that's always back and forth to Mexico, and we all come together.
You make it work.
We make it work. And
So that group was there to kind of not only help you through it, the program, but also catch you on the way out and kind of get you kind of accelerated into that next chapter, still doing the things you love. One of the things I like about Smart Start, in fact, I love it about Smart Start, we're very pro removal. We can't wait for that day. We're so excited for you. We're not predatory. We see it as a program, not a product. The device itself, it works, you don't get, in my opinion, our device is less likely to lock you out, especially as a mom. And that's true if you're being accountable and you're not blown into the device, right, with alcohol. But did you have any issues with the device, or was it pretty smooth sailing for you?
The only issue I had was early on. I had no clue. But having a preemie, like before COVID, I would wash my hands with the sanitizer.
Yeah.
And there's a particular sanitizer that I know now, that was one thing that it read wrong. It picked up the sanitizer.
Yeah.
And I called my probation officer at the time, and she said, "Oh, honey, you can't use sanitizer." I was like, well, I mean, I live with that. I mean, that's just...
Sure. Well, and it was during COVID too, so that's all we were putting all over our hands.
Exactly.
And I love that you said that. We just recently did a false positives episode. It's like everybody's favorite episode, because I went to market with that episode trying to get the device to give me a false positive. We call it a mouth contaminant, but the device exists and it's designed to detect alcohol.
Right.
There's alcohol in the sanitizer, and we were putting copious amounts of it on our hands.
Right.
And that's great to hear, though, that everything else with the device was smooth.
Yeah.
And today, I'll never forget when I met you and just the nature of how your story came out to me. And I explained who I was and what I was doing. And you very much wanted to be a part of the mission, I think, right away. You very much are a girl's girl. Yeah. You are a cheerleader. You are someone who is pro women. And for women that are going through this, that are facing this, you've come out the other side of it.
Oh, absolutely.
How many years removed are you from having your IID?
So that was 21? So almost 5 years?
5 years now. Okay. Yeah. And you are living an incredibly beautiful life. And I want to focus on that, because so many times I think we see and we focus on the negative part of it. And you are like a bright light. You're a bright spirit. You are shining, and you've almost used the experience as a catapult for yourself in terms of what you've gone on to do. So talk to me about today, right now, and all the things that you're doing and how successful you are.
Well, I will say, so I have always been open. It's something initially, you don't know how to react to it. But one of my mentors, which she's phenomenal, everybody knows her here in DFW. But she is one that, everything that in my career is just kind of scaffold, it's built upon the next thing. What's the next step? And where I am currently at Beam Light Sauna, they recruited me, found me, and said, if you want a wellness girl, this is your girl. And so she's the one that put me in front of them. And I will say that was the first thing that I said is, I need to tell you something that's personal.
Yeah.
And there was a level of respect there, you know, and it's, sometimes I feel like women are afraid to say something like that, but to earn that respect from her, she was just like, you know what? She's a powerhouse. And she recognized that in me too. So that gave me power. So with that, I've been able to, of course, help in wellness and community all over DFW. I do events all over the place. I manage my son's music career. He's pretty much handling it himself now. It's his 11th year. He started when he was 5. And he's all over the country and the world at this point.
This is a moment in your life that didn't define you. And it's a moment that became a catalyst for affecting essentially really positive change. Not that you needed change, but it became a beautiful part of your story. And what you're describing is showing up authentically and using your testimony and saying, look, this is who I am, and you just come as you are. People are much more open to that. And I think your point is they see power in that and strength in that versus hiding it and not being accountable. And your children are now successful, extremely successful. Your son is doing a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to see what both of you continue to do. But I think there's power in honesty and acceptance. And with those two things, that's how you move through the despair. That's how you come to where you are today.
That's right.
So what is one thing, if I could leave the women listening to this, or men who are walking their wife or a loved one through this, what is one thing or a few things that you would like to say to that woman who's experiencing that absolute, emotional roller coaster right now, who maybe just had a DUI? I know you have a good friend. It makes me tear up because she's a part of our community. And I know what she's going through. And it hurts me when any woman goes through it. She's in the middle of it right now. What would you say to her if you were talking to her?
I think it goes back to telling that person that you're human. And I think you turn to your faith and know that it's only just for a moment. And life is too short to just bring yourself down. You've got to find the thing that makes you happy. I think for me, movement is a key thing for me, is moving, and hip movement of all things is Latin dance is my thing. And then to know that there's people, and women especially, they carry trauma in their hips. And that's something that's what, my goal is, with my passions of dance and everything. I would tell her that she has the ability to be whoever it is that she wants to be. It's just a moment in time, and we all make mistakes. It doesn't define you. And then just encourage that person and find those key things that makes that person beautiful.
Good reminders.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the storm. Mm-hmm. Grace, you're so sweet. Oh. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you so much for joining this episode today. I'm Morgan Ryan with the amazing and beautiful and talented Grace Bleener. You can get your first 2 payments free with coupon code Stigma Free. You can also visit us at www.smartstartinc.com and give us a call. You can get free advice from a program advisor in any state. That number is 844-766-0156. Thank you for joining us.